She leans over, gives me a tiny kiss, and leaves. Deck and Butch have found out that the microphones are not the kind the police or the FBI use. Somebody else is listening, Deck says over coffee. But who? I make a plan and discuss it with Deck. Deck leaves. 30 minutes later, he calls to talk about several cases that don't exist. We talk for a few minutes about this and that. Then I say, "Guess who wants to settle now?" "Who?" "Dot Black." "Dot Black?" Deck acts surprised. "Yeah. She said she'd take $160,000. Since their top offer is $150, she'd win a small victory if they pay more than they want." "Don't do it, Rudy. This case is worth a fortune." "I know, but legally I'm supposed to go to Drummond and try to settle. It's what the client wants." At 5 minutes to 9 the next morning, the phone rings. It's Drummond. We wired a tape recorder to my phone. "Rudy, Leo Drummond here," he says. "Rudy, you know my clients want to settle. These guys are important, big money people with big careers to protect. We'll offer $175,000 to settle this thing right now." "I don't think so." "Look, Rudy, you need to talk to your client. I think she wants to settle. Call her right now. I'll wait here." The bastard probably has the microphone wired to his phone. He wants me to call her so he can listen. "I'll get back to you, Mr. Drummond. Good day." I hang up and play the tape. Deck and I stare at the recorder. It was Drummond. He put the microphones in. "I guess we should tell Kipler," I finally say. "I don't think so," Deck says. "We know that Drummond is responsible because we've just caught him, but we can't prove it. So what's Kipler going to do? Accuse him without proof? Let's save it for the trial. Let's wait for the perfect moment." Both of us smile, slowly. I wait 2 weeks and call Drummond with the sad news that my client does not want his money. "She's acting a bit strange," I say. One day she's afraid of going to trial, the next day she wants her day in court. Right now she wants to fight. He doesn't expect anything. He threatens me by saying that Great Benefit will take the offer back if the blacks don't settle now. I'm sure this sounds good to the ears listening up in Cleveland. As for me, I'm slightly surprised at my ability to ignore the money. I'm young, and there will be other cases. And I'm sure that Great Benefit is scared and that they are hiding dark secrets. I'm worried, but I'm dreaming of the trial. Booker and Charlene invite me to Thanksgiving dinner. I get to their house, and the first words out of his mouth are, "I passed it." His exam was regraded. His score was raised, and now he's a real lawyer. I tell him that Deck and I have finally made some money. We got a check the other day for a client's insurance claim. $25,000. The client gets $16,667, and we get exactly $8,333. Deck and I each took $3,000 and left the rest in the firm. I bought a car with my $3,000. Not exactly new, but a big improvement on my old Toyota. I'm going to spend the Christmas holidays visiting Max Luberg and other lawyers who have sued Great Benefit. End of CD 2. CD 3. Chapter 10. An Important Discovery. It's December 23rd when I finally arrive in Madison, Wisconsin. I find a small hotel and call Max, who's really happy that I'm in Madison. I've called him about once a month for advice on the Black case and sent him most of the documents. He knows the trial is 6 weeks away. He looks the same, wild hair, jeans, t-shirt. Any offers to settle? Yeah, several. They're up to $175,000, but my client says no. That's unusual, but I'm not surprised. It's one of the best cases I've ever seen, and I've looked at thousands. I tell him about our phones and the strong evidence that Drummond is listening to our calls. Then Max and I start work. He wants to beat these people. Save the best for last, he says. Play the tape of Donnie Ray testifying just before he died. It's a wonderful picture to leave the jury with. He slides something across the table to me. This is Great Benefit's new policy. Sold last month to one of my students. I paid for it. Guess what's not included now? Bone marrow transplants. Keep it and use it in court. I might even have to come and watch this trial. When Max and I say goodbye at the front door of the law school, I can't thank him enough. I've talked to 4 lawyers who've sued Great Benefit. The first 3 were no help. The 4th, Cooper Jackson, is in Spartanburg, South Carolina. He's not supposed to tell me most of what he tells me. He's settled with Great Benefit, and he and his client signed an agreement never to tell anyone what the details were. Jackson had a client with a Great Benefit policy who was refused treatment. The claim amounted to $11,000. Before they went to court, Great Benefit suddenly wanted a very quiet settlement. This is the secret part, he says, obviously enjoying himself. They paid us the $11,000, then threw in another $200,000 to make us go away. Amazing, I say. It's all here, he says, pointing to 3 large boxes. Claims are automatically denied, and most people give up. About 1 in 25 will actually go to a lawyer. How can you prove this? It's here, in the company manuals. I look through the manuals. One is for claims, the other for underwriting. At first, they appear identical to the ones I have. Then, I notice something different. In the back of the manual for claims is a section U. My copy does not have this section, and I begin to understand the way the game is played. The manual for underwriting also has a section U. When they are read together, the manuals direct each department to deny the claim, then to send the file to the other department with instructions not to pay until they receive further instructions. Those instructions never arrive. Neither of my manuals has a section U. The bastards in Cleveland, and possibly their lawyers in Memphis, hid these sections. It is an important discovery. Cooper says that there are other lawyers suing Great Benefit. We'll keep in touch. The pre-trial conference is held in the middle of January. We agree that 2 weeks should be reserved for the trial, though Kipler would like a 5-day trial. Now, gentlemen, what about the settlement discussions? Asks Judge Kipler. I've told him their latest offer was $175,000. He also knows Dot Black is not interested. What's your best offer, Mr. Drummond? Well, Your Honor, my clients are willing to offer $200,000 to settle. Mr. Baylor? Sorry, my client has told me not to settle. Kipler hands a list to Drummond and me. Now, these are names and addresses of the possible jurors, 92. We'll pick the jury a week before the trial, so be ready to go on February 1st. You may find out about their backgrounds, but any direct contact is a serious offense. By the time we have to choose the 12 jurors, Drummond will have a nice file on each of these people. The files will be examined by a team of expensive lawyers and psychologists who specialize in juries. I, on the other hand, have deck. I go to the mall at least 3 times a week now. She's walked by only once so far, but didn't see me. I sit here tonight, watching for her and studying the jurors' information. My model juror is young and black, with at least a high school education. But women will be sympathetic to Dot for the loss of her child. The one type of juror I want to avoid is a white male suit like the boys from Cleveland. Chapter 11. Choosing a Jury. Maybe I'll think of a meaner trick someday, but it's hard to imagine. If Drummond wants to listen to my phone, we'll give him something really interesting. It's late afternoon. I'm at the office when Deck calls me from the payphone around the corner. Rudy, Deck here. I finally found Dean Goodloe. Goodloe is a white male, 39, college education, owns his own business. He's a juror we do not want. Where? I ask him. At his office. We were wrong about him. He's not fond of insurance companies. I gave him the facts in our case, and he got really mad. He'll make a great juror. What a surprise, I say clearly. I want Drummond to hear every word. How did he feel about talking to you? A little worried. I told him what I told the rest of them. I'm not a lawyer, and if they don't tell anybody about our conversation, then nobody will get in trouble. Good. Is Goodloe with us? No doubt. We have to have him. I pick another person we definitely do not want on the jury. What about Dermot King? A good man. We go through the same routine with the rest of the names, and then Deck says, What about you? Nathan Butt was a bit surprised to learn that I was one of the lawyers on the case, but he relaxed. He hates insurance companies, I say. I wonder if Drummond's heart is still beating. He knows that he can't do anything except stay quiet and try to avoid the people we talked about. About 15 minutes later, the phone rings. A slightly familiar voice says, Rudy Baylor, please. This is Rudy Baylor. This is Billy Porter. You came by today. What do you want? It's actually Deck's friend, Butch. Billy Porter is a white male, wears a tie to work, and manages a store. We don't want him. Yes, well, it's about the trial. Is this legal? Of course it's legal. Just don't tell anybody. Look, I represent the little old lady whose son was killed by Great Benefit Life Insurance. Killed? Yes. The company denied the boy an operation. He died 3 months ago of leukemia. That's why we sued. We really need your help, Mr. Porter. I'll bet Leo Drummond doesn't sleep tonight. The jurors arrive between 8:30 and 9. For many, it's their first visit to a courtroom, and they're nervous. Dot and I sit alone at the end of our table, facing the jurors. Deck is across the room. In sharp contrast, the defense table is surrounded by 5 men in black suits, checking piles of paper which cover the desk. I'm amazed that Drummond does not realize how this looks to the jurors. His client must be guilty, or why would they use 5 lawyers against only one of me? They clearly have more people and more money than we do. My poor client is weak. Drummond and his boys refused to speak to me this morning. I could tell that they are shocked and disgusted by my direct contact with the jurors. Kipler enters the courtroom, and everybody rises. Court is opened. He asks which jurors want to be excused and dismisses those. Then dismisses some more, and we're down to 50. Kipler goes through a list of questions that he showed to both Drummond and me. This gives us time to watch and study each person. Then it's my turn. I stand, walk to the bar, smile, and say the words that I've practiced 1,000 times. Good morning. My name is Rudy Baylor, and I represent the blacks. After all those questions, they're ready for something different. I look at them warmly, sincerely. Now, Judge Kipler has asked a lot of important questions. I have only one more question. Can any of you think of any reason why you shouldn't serve on this jury and hear this case? No one says anything. I didn't expect them to. Thank you, I say with a smile. The jury looks fine to me, Your Honor. Drummond is on his feet. He tries to look calm and friendly, but he is burning with anger. He introduces himself and his client, asks a few general questions. Then it starts. Now, I'm going to ask you the most important question. Have any of you been contacted about this case? It's more of an accusation than a question. The courtroom is perfectly still. This is very important, he says. We need to know. There is no trust in his voice. Let me ask it another way, he says very coolly. Did any of you speak with either Mr. Baylor or Mr. Deck Shiflett? I jump to my feet. Objection, Your Honor. I agree. What are you doing, Mr. Drummond? Kipler shouts. Drummond says, Mr. Porter, I'm going to ask you a direct question. I want an honest answer. If you ask an honest question, I'll give you an honest answer, Porter says angrily. Yes, now, Mr. Porter, did you have a phone conversation last night with Mr. Rudy Baylor? I stand, look directly at Drummond, but say nothing. No, I didn't, Porter says. His face is getting red. Are you sure, Mr. Porter? He demands. I certainly am. I think you did, Drummond says. Before I can object and before Kipler can do anything, Billy Porter jumps on Drummond. Don't call me a liar, you bastard! Porter screams and puts his hand around Drummond's throat. Drummond falls. Women scream. One of Drummond's expensive shoes goes flying. I stay in my seat, thoroughly enjoying the show. After a short break, Drummond makes a formal motion to dismiss the whole group. Kipler refuses, but Billy Porter is excused. The process of picking jurors continues through the afternoon in Kipler's office. Drummond firmly avoids any of the people Deck and I mentioned on the phone last night. The result is a jury of my dreams. 6 black females, all mothers, 2 black males, 1 a college graduate, 1 a disabled former truck driver, 3 white males, all of whom are sympathetic, 1 white female, the wife of a wealthy businessman. I couldn't avoid her, and I'm not worried. We only need 9 of the 12 to agree on a verdict. The trial starts in a week. 4 days before the trial begins, Deck takes a call at the office from a lawyer in Cleveland. I call him back from the car phone, which doesn't have a microphone in it. His name is Peter Corsa, and he represents a young lady by the name of Jackie Lemanchek. She went to his office after she was suddenly fired from Great Benefit.